Please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Council, Mayor, Deputy Clerk, and audience. This is the City of Romulus City Council regular meeting for Monday, September 26, 2016. The roll will show that all members are present with the exception of Councilwoman Makowski.
She's excused.
That is noted. Tonight's council meeting agenda is as follows. Number 1, agenda. 2, minutes. 3, petitioner. 4, chairperson's report. 5, mayor's report. 6A, clerk's report. 6B, treasurer's report. 7, public comment. 8, unfinished business. 9, new business. 10, communication. 11 is warrant 16-18, and number 12 is adjournment. And a motion would be in order to accept the regular council meeting agenda as presented.
So moved.
Support.
It's been motioned by Mr. Kraut, supported by Ms. Abdo for approval of the agenda as presented. Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, agenda approved.
2A, for approval are the minutes from the regular council meeting held September 12th, 2016.
So moved for September the 12th.
Support.
Motion by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Abdo for approval of the minutes from the regular council meeting held September the 12th, 2016. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
There are no petitioners this evening. Number 4 is the chairperson's report.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The chairperson report doesn't have anything to report tonight. But at this time, I'm going to recognize Councilman Kraut.
Thank you, Ms. Martin. I'll make a resolution for Florence Klein, who passed away Friday. She was 95 years old. She ran Helping Hands for 53 years. And to make sure that any resident in Romulus had food. Her favorite holidays was Christmas and Thanksgiving. Every Thanksgiving, she'd make sure that the needy people in Romulus had turkeys, and Christmas they had hams. And she's a good friend of mine.
I'll support that, and she was a wonderful person.
Okay, thank you. It's been motioned by Mr. Kraut, supported by Mr. Wadsworth, for a memorial resolution for Mrs. Klein. Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth? Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved. Also, at this time, I'm going to recognize Councilman Wadsworth.
Thank you, Mr. Barton. I've got a couple of things, and I'll try to be as quick as possible. Number 1, the bingo for the Romulus Animal Shelter raised $1,754. And I've got to thank the following people, because without these folks, this would have never taken place. And first of all, Mayor Burcroft, who donated things to be sold, Johnson's Lithograph, J&M Towing, Jake's Truck and Auto, Rose from the Senior Center, St. Aloysius Church that gives us the bingo license, and the DPW workers that took down the signs and brought the light. They did a great job. John Dolincic from Burger King, he donated the hot dogs, and Maria Lambert, who made up the flyers and the signs. Okay, and the people that worked there, of course, the Bingo King, Joe Azuk, and his partner, Madeline Arstruski, they stay every hour for every year and do one heck of a job. Shirley Coates, Amy Bench, I can't pronounce her last name, but Amy, you know who you are. Celeste worked, Michael Pribilla, Denise Straw, Lois Ayers, who was Frank Ayers' wife, who we dedicated this. And this year, we had a hard time to get volunteers. And Jan Lemon showed up on Friday, and she worked every hour she could. And Jan, I appreciate it, because if you wouldn't have stayed, we'd had a real problem. And Wanda Sanchez and Rosie Green, and also Kathy Abdu, who brought her National Honor Society kids that worked there, and they sold the hot dogs and the pop. And I'm not sure that one of these young girls is working, but Sarah, I wish you luck, and you know what I'm talking about. And again, it was a great success, and I want to thank everybody that's ever supported that. Okay, now the other thing, back on the 30th of June of this year, Steers Hardware closed down after serving this town for 67 years. And I'd like somebody to support me in a proclamation thanking Steers Hardware for the 67 years that day. Okay, and I'm gonna expand on it. Back in the early 1940s, Bill Steer met Joyce Block, and they were married, and they had 4 kids. Of the 4 kids, I personally know Kathy, Billy, and Peggy. The Steers at first had a grocery store, and I could be wrong on these dates, and I'm sure I'll get corrected, but when it gets printed, I'm sure all the dates and the times will be perfect. But these people were a cornerstone of Middle Belt and Eureka from the time I moved out here. They did many things for this community, not only for me, for my causes, but the shelter, but you know, they would help anybody in the neighborhood. And they were good, solid, you know, good citizens of Romulus. Like I say, Billy, Kathy, and Peggy, and the other girl, I can't think of her name because I never met her because she moved out west, but they all graduated from the Romulus school system. And it was very sad to see it close after those years. And it's very unfortunate, but I guess it's just part of our changing times. But I would like a proclamation made up and signed thanking them for the 67 years.
Bill, I want to say something that you correct. Plus, they're really nice people. They always rhyme like with Sears and Steers, and you go in there and they help you right away, because sometimes you look for stuff and you go to some place and they don't really pay attention to you that much, but they did, Bill. They
I hope I didn't call them Steers.
yeah.
Steers.
I used to say Steers.
You know,
and Sears.
I can I'll tell one story, John, if you're done, but when we first moved out there, my house in Oakbrook had screw-in fuses. I'm not sure anybody has them anymore. And on Christmas Eve, my house went dark, and I went over there. It was like 5 o'clock, and Mr. Steers was still working there, and he had this big long claw, and he reached up and he brought them down. You know, it reminded me of when things were old and good. And but they were good people, and it's very sad that they had to close, but that's just part of life. So I'd like a resolution and signed and I'm given to them. And Peggy's husband, Roger, works in the DPW.
Okay, it was a motion by Mr. Wadsworth and supported by Mr. Kraut for resolution. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
And I have one more item, and I'll make it if I can. Mayor Michael Hebna, that worked in the ordinance department for 28 years, a good employee, did his job. About a year ago, he retired, and he's now moved up north. And during his retirement process, I mean, I believe that we give the firemen a retirement badge and we give the police officers a retirement badge. I would like the city to present him with a retirement badge. He really is the only ordinance officer that's ever worked in this town that long continuously, and he was a good employee. Would you please look into it?
Look into it, yep.
Okay.
Not a problem.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. That concludes the chairperson's report.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to accept your report.
Support.
Okay, it's been motioned by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Ms. Choke. Accept the chairperson's report. Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes.
And I
Motion.
vote yes.
And I'm sorry, the second person, Ms. Choke. And I guess I have to vote too, huh?
Yes, you do.
Okay. The chair votes yes too. Motion approved, and thanks a lot, everyone.
Number 5 is the mayor's report.
Good evening, council, clerk, deputy clerk, and audience. Tonight, kind of on the same note, Mr. Wadsworth talking about a great pumpkin fest. This is a team quote, and I picked the Michael Jordan one. Talent wins games, but teamwork and intelligence win championships. And we had a ton of people that pulled together. I mean, record numbers this year at the parade, at the Rotary sponsored. I mean, we have obviously a real active Pumpkin Festival committee, DDA, the police, fire, DPW, and all the setup, all the little things that need to get done. We had a ton of sponsors. People don't realize that the sponsors who pledge money to advertise either in the booklet or just for some of the event sponsors really make it happen. So it was a great event. I know that we had a little bit of rain Saturday morning. Didn't stop the pancake breakfast or other things from happening, but the car show did have to get called. But you know, what are you going to do? We had good weather other than that, and a lot of good entertainment. So, you know, whoever you were, if you were involved in the Pumpkin Festival in some way, shape, or form, could have been bingo, could have been a parade, could have been a float. Thank you. Thanks for all your efforts, because that's what makes our community great. We also, I have one event that I want to showcase, and I just put some of these big posters out, but this is kind of the theme you've heard, Romulus Strong, and this is an event you know, that basically kind of came together. Grant Long had contacted me. You know, we had John Long here a couple weeks ago, and Grant, who was also a super basketball star in high school and college and professionally, and he said, you know, I see what's going around the country, Mayor, and I want to do something in my hometown. And so I responded. I set up a meeting. We brought him in, heard out what he wanted to do, and even though we have good relations with police and the public, we're always trying to do more. And so basically, this is a kind of a community police forum, and it's just trying to, it says building relationships one conversation at a time. It's this Saturday. So this Saturday, October 1st, there's going to be a panel discussion in the high school auditorium. There's going to be a softball game, not a basketball game, a softball game on the Charlie Lau Memorial Baseball Field. And the thought was, it's not an us versus them kind of game, it's pulling people together. And so just come hear the forum, participate, hear dialogue, there'll be some panel discussion, then walk out back and have a nice game. So weather permitting, we'll have a nice time in the afternoon, but please come out and support that. Again, a lot of people are volunteering to make this possible, so there'll be more events to come, but that's one we wanted to kind of talk about tonight. Also, I think we do have a video clip, right, Raj, to run on some activities, and then I'll get into my regular report.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening. The Romulus Farmers Market continues for only 2 more weeks on Wednesdays in front of City Hall from noon until 6 p.m. through October the 12th. Romulus Auto is partnering with Blue Sky Ice Cream and Hamburgers on Thursday the 29th for a special car show benefiting Romulus VFW Post 9568. This event was rescheduled from the rainout during the Pumpkin Festival weekend. Downtown Scarecrow Contest entries must be submitted to the DPW building by this Friday, September the 30th. Saturday, October the 1st is a special community police forum being planned by the Romulus Police Department in partnership with former resident and NBA player Grant Long. It'll be held at Romulus High School. There will be a panel discussion at 1 p.m. and a community softball game at 2:30 p.m. The Romulus High School homecoming football game is this Friday, October the 7th against Annapolis. The last household hazardous waste drop-off day for the year will be Saturday, October the 8th from 8 a.m. till 2 p.m. at the Wayne County Community College Downriver campus on Northline Road in Taylor. The Fall Fun Festival will be held in the Historical Park on Friday, October the 14th from 5 to 8 p.m. Activities will include hay rides, historical storytelling, pumpkin painting, and concessions. Also on the 14th, the Romulus Historical Cemetery Board is holding a euchre tournament fundraiser that will be on October the 14th at the VFW Hall. Registrations are now being accepted for fall recreation programs, including the Daddy-Daughter Dance, Tai Chi, praise dancing, and girls Pee-wee basketball. And stay tuned following this meeting for our complete news show, or visit our website for more information on any of these events and programs we mentioned today.
Thanks, Dennis. Thanks, Roger. Now, Mr. Chairman, on with our action items for my report under 5A. What you have is a request to concur with the recommendation of the administration and award bid ITB 16/17-02. That's a one-year contract pricing for computer hardware, software licensing acquisition to the three most responsible bidders, Zones, Inc., B&H Photo Electronics Corporation, and Insight, Inc.
I'll make that motion, sir.
I'll support it.
It's been motioned by Ms. Abdo, supported by Mr. Wadsworth. This is to concur with administration award bid ITB 1617-02 for the contract pricing computer hardware. Any discussion? For discussion, Ms. Abdo,
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth.
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe,
Yes.
Mr. Kraut,
Yes.
Ms. Choate,
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Second item B is also a request on IT that came through Lynn Conway in purchasing and Steve Dudek, our Technology Services Director. And this one is to concur with the administration, authorize a one-year extension of bid award RFP 12/13-36. That's for licensing and maintenance for the Highland on-base modules currently being utilized throughout the city with Applied Imaging. The cost is $11,591.60, and for the professional services needed from Applied Imaging for an hourly rate of $160 per hour through June 30th of 2017. And those funds are also verified and have been budgeted for out of the Technology Services maintenance and contracts.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Ms. Choate.
I would make the motion that we concur with the administration and authorize the one-year extension of bid RFP 12/13-36 for licensing and maintenance of the Highland on-base modules currently being utilized throughout the city with Applied Imaging at a cost of $11,591.60, and for any professional services needed from Applied Imaging at an hourly rate of $160 per hour through June 30th, 2017.
Support.
Been motioned by Ms. Choate, supported by Mr. Kraut. And this is to concur with administration, authorize a one-year extension to bid award RFP 12/13-36 for the licensing and maintenance of the Highland on-base modules currently being utilized throughout the city with Applied Images at a cost of $11,591.60, and for any professional services needed for Applied Images at an hourly rate of $160 per hour through June 30, 2017. Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo? Yes. Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you, Council. Item C is a recommendation from Roberto Scapitici from DPW, and this request is to improve payment of the attached annual CSX signal maintenance and crossing maintenance invoice. The amount's $11,711, and for each of the remaining years of the agreement, these funds were verified and also come out of the major street traffic signal expense account.
So move for the CSX signal maintenance crossing, and I just have a comment.
Support.
It's been motioned by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Abdo, and this was to approve payment of the attached annual CSX signal maintenance and crossing maintenance invoice, the amount of $11,711, and for each of the remaining years of the agreement. Discussion.
Mr. Barton?
Yes, Mr.
To either the mayor or Roberto, is this a per year charge? I mean, it's very sad that we even have to even pay this with all the aggravation that is caused, but we pay this once a year?
Same question I asked last time.
Evening, Council. Yes, we do pay this yearly.
What about Eureka and Pennsylvania? I don't even see them on here. Is that a different charge for them?
That might be, or it could be part of another invoice that hasn't come through yet.
And they do the maintenance on this. We don't. We just pay.
No, we don't touch any of
Quote
the
our fair
jurisdiction
share,
of the railroads. They're out completing the maintenance themselves.
Thank you. Like I say, it's sad.
Roberto?
Okay. Yes, Ms.
They rotate
Abdo.
where they are working, am I correct?
Yeah, they do. Right now, they're projected that they're going to be in this fall into downtown, next to the landing strip. They're going to be taking one of the giant uprights down that have the lights on it. They're going to be going with a smaller pedestal. So whenever they do this type of work, we get a little prorated charge to it.
Is done? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Council, next item is a concur with the recommendation of Josh Money, police captain and legal counsel for this one. And this is to concur with administration and grant authorization for the mayor and clerk to enter into the attached DSS Corporation maintenance agreement for 1 year with terms ending September 20th of 2017. Total cost $2,425.
Chair, I'll make that motion to approve DSS Corporation Maintenance Agreement.
It's been motioned by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Ms. Abdo, and that's to concur with administration and grant the authorization for the mayor and clerk to enter into the maintenance agreement. Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you, council. And the last item for action is just for our Property Disposition Committee, and you have two names with the same terms. This is approval for reappointments of Abby Akins and Tracy Langer for the Property Disposition Committee. Those terms are through January 25th of 2020.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Ms. Choate.
I'd be happy to make a motion that we concur with the Property Disposition Committee and reappoint Abby Akins and Tracy Leninger for their terms to expire January 25th, 2020.
Support.
It's been motioned by Ms. Choate, supported by Mr. Kraut. And this approve the reappointments of Abby Aiken and Tracy Linger to the Property Disposition Committee with terms expiring January 25th, 2020. Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you, council. That concludes my report.
Thank you.
6A is the clerk's report. Under 6A1, the reappointments to the Board of Zoning Appeals. The Executive Advisory Commission met on Monday, September 12, 2016, and they are recommending that City Council reappoint Sheldon Chandler and Kenneth Minkiewicz to the Board of Zoning Appeals. Their current terms expired on June 30, 2016. Their new terms are for 3 years, with the terms to expire on June 30, 2019.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Support.
Support.
Been motioned by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Roscoe, for a reappointment to the Board of Zoning Appeals. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
6A2, this is a request to establish an industrial district. Dayhan Solutions Georgia LLC, located on 10401 Harrison Road. They've submitted an application to establish an industrial development district. The district would encompass parcel ID number 80052990001-702. And in accordance with PA 198 of 1974, it is necessary to hold a public hearing prior to council taking action. Therefore, it is requested that a public hearing be held on Monday, October 24th, 2016 at 6:45 p.m.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Ms. Ross?
I would be happy to make a motion that we establish a public hearing for Dayhan Solutions Georgia LLC at 10401 Harrison Road for the purpose of consideration of establishment of an industrial development district.
Support.
Been motioned by Ms. Choate, supported by Ms. Roscoe, for Dayhan Solutions Georgia LLC with the address of 10401 Harrison Road, and this was the request to establish an industrial district. Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
6A3, YAP USA Automotive Systems, Inc., located on 36320 Eureka Road. They're submitting a request request of transfer of an IFT exemption certificate. On October 12th, 2012, City Council approved the issuance of a 7-year industrial facilities tax exemption certificate to 4L Ventures LLC, doing business as Lee Steel Corporation, located at 36320 Eureka Road. Since that time, YAP USA Automotive Systems, Inc. has acquired the building located at 36320 Eureka Road, and they are requesting a transfer of the IFT exemption certificate approved by Council Resolution Number 12318 for real property investment of $12,613,354 over a 7-year period. This exemption will expire on December 30th, 2019. In order to acquire council's approval for this transfer, a public hearing must be scheduled. Therefore, it is requested that a public hearing be scheduled for Monday, October 24th, 2016 at 7 o'clock p.m.
So move for a public hearing on October the 24th at 7 p.m.
Support.
It's been motioned by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Mr. Kraut. For the public hearing, Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
6A4. Also, this is regarding YAP USA Automotive Systems, Inc., and in accordance with PA 198 of 1974 as amended, YAP USA Automotive Systems, Inc. has submitted an application for a 12-year IFT exemption certificate tax abatement for real and personal property improvements at their existing facility located at 36320 Eureka Road. The applicant indicates that this project is expected to create 170 new jobs with the total project cost of $19,757 and $19,757,689. The first step, again, in this process is to schedule the public hearing. The date would be for Monday, October 24th, 2016 at 7:15. Need a
Chair,
motion.
I'll make a motion to grant a public hearing for YAP USA Automotive Systems at 36320 Eureka Road. Application is for a new IFT exemption certificate.
Support.
The motion by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Ms. Choate, for public hearing and in reference to the U.S. Automotive Systems, Inc. at 36320 Eureka Road. Ms. Roscoe,
Yes.
Ms. Choate,
Yes.
Mr. Kraut,
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth,
Yes.
Ms. Abdo.
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
6A5, and this is the last item under the clerk's report in order that needs action taken. And this is a request from our Public Service Director, Robert McCrate, and is requesting that council adopt by reference an amendment to the Romulus Code of Ordinance, Part 2, Chapter 8, Buildings and Buildings Regulations, Article 7, Property Maintenance, Section 8-21, Code adopted, and Section 8-212 references in code to include Appendix A of the International Maintenance Code.
Mr.
We
Chair,
need
I'll
a
make that
motion.
motion
Yes, Ms. Roscoe?
for International Property Maintenance Code adoption of Appendix A, board up standards for open and unsecured structures.
Support.
Been motioned by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Mr. Wadsworth. This is for the International Property Maintenance Code, adoption of Appendix A, Board of Standards for Open and Unsecured Structures. Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth? Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved.
Thank you, and that's the last item under the clerk's report. We've provided some information with regards to a liquor license transfer for your information.
Okay.
And 6B will be the treasurer's report, and the treasurer was unable to be here tonight and wanted me to let you know that she did not have anything to report under her report. Number 7 is public comment, and this is a portion of the agenda that's set aside for those that are in the audience wishing to have comments before council. If you choose to do so, if you'd like to raise your hand after you've been acknowledged by our chairperson, approach the podium, and we ask that you state your name. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Please note that if there's any comments or remarks from council, that it will be done under the unfinished business item on the agenda. We do have one written request.
Okay.
This is coming from a Daniel McCausland, located at 328 Haggerty Road. And Mr. McCausland, if you're in the audience, you can please approach the podium.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, council.
Good evening.
My name is Daniel McCausland, and I'd like to take a few minutes of your time to explain to you the bad situation that I experienced back in May in Romulus. I was stopped as a motorist going westbound on Van Born Road. Let me tell you, first of all, I am a retired commercial driver with over 1 million miles of accident and ticket-free miles. I was stopped eastbound of Henry Ruff by an officer who claimed I ran the traffic signal. I disagreed with him totally. He told me the process would be cured. Oh, excuse me. He told me that the ticket, he issued me a ticket, and he told me the ticket would be cured by converting it to a parking ticket at the airport. I found that very puzzling, and I made an appointment and went and talked to the police chief. The police chief told me that the situation was going to be very cut and dry because he was in a state-of-the-art video car and the infraction would be on video. So I said, that's fantastic. I shook his hand and I went home. I got a call from the sergeant the next day of Mr. Salwa, who told me no such video existed, that I would have to proceed to the court system and go through the court system. I went through the court system, and indeed, they said, double parking at the airport, $180. And I said, what happens if you believe you're not wrong? Well, then you have a hearing. I went through all the hearings, and it got more tumultuous as it went. I went through the magistrate hearing. I had examples. The officer was sworn. We had a hearing. The magistrate said we had good points, but I'm still going to find you guilty. We went on, and I went to the next level of hearing, and at that point in time, I got the mayor's office involved, and Julie was helping me out here, who's been very helpful to me. She's been very kind. And there's been questions that have been asked, and I keep asking the question over and over. How did the police chief tell me that this was going to be on video? So Julie re-asked the question. The sergeant called me back and he said, not only, he says, did we not have it on video, he says, but you guys have been arguing about the wrong intersection. I said, can this get any crazier? He says, yeah, I know, it's really crazy. He says, you're going to go in front of the judge, right? I said, he goes, go in front of the judge and tell him what happened. Okay. So I go back again, and the person from the court says, it's a 3-point violation. You've already paid $180. Do you just want to take the parking ticket and leave? I said, no. I want to tell the judge what happened. Because I was falsely accused. And I know in my heart I was falsely accused, and now we're even in the wrong intersection. The court hearing was a total disaster. The judge said, you know what? You've had your day in court, and it's almost 12, and my lunch is waiting. What do you want? I was so disappointed. I mean, the officer said he writes 25 tickets a day in these intersections? How many people are being falsely accused? If you have this state-of-the-art technology, this is the year 2016. If the taxpayers of this community pay for a video outfitted car that would either show, it's gotten to the point after this situation, I bought myself a video camera for my dash. I've driven runs to California, Texas, New Mexico, you name it, I've been there. I was a driver all my life, since 1981. How do I get pulled over, falsely accused? I grew up not 4 miles from there. I know that area. I know those intersections. But nobody wants to be accountable. So I came in and I met, Julia was nice enough to facilitate a meeting with your counsel, Mr. Stephen Hitchcock. He found it that it was even puzzling. He said, you know what, as a last-ditch effort, he said, why don't you file a motion to reconsider the hearing? He says, and maybe get the, I said, I'd really like to get the points because now I'm pretty bruised. I paid $180, and at the end of the hearing, the prosecutor told me, go and enjoy your points. Is that any way to treat your citizens? I mean, I'm not a citizen of this community, but I don't think I'd ever want to travel through here again. But the sergeant, in closing, the sergeant told me that the process indeed was flawed. He said, there's no reason that they're ever going to say to convert a ticket again on the road to a parking ticket. So on all the things that happened, you really need to find out what happened in this process. Because A, the police chief made a false statement which was never backed up. I wrote him letters, he never answered me back. B, Julie asked numerous questions on the procedure. They were never answered. And C, the court next door, it's just totally false. It falls on deaf ears. The judge's lunch was more important than me trying to tell him what's happening on your streets. And to me, that is just a huge disappointment. And there was a sentence that was here said before, it's us versus them. And we don't want to have that. I don't want to be an us versus them in law enforcement. I want to respect law enforcement. I want to go back to the old days when the police were the police, and if you broke the law, you broke the law. Why in the world would I go through this entire process, 7 hearings, and go through all this turmoil if I believed that I ran that light? And now I ended up pretty badly bruised. I paid the fine, and now there's 3 points on my license, and it wasn't even the intersection that I was accused of. And that to me is very bad. So it's falling on deaf ears, and I hope that you would look into it. I really do. Because how many people have been falsely accused like I have? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Lemon?
Good evening, Jan Lemon, Cemetery Board of Trustees. We've talked so much about a gate. We have a gate. Please take the time to drive by the cemetery. It is the original entrance to the cemetery where the gate was installed. If it wasn't for the volunteers who helped, and in 2009, the volunteer people who donated money, the council, the mayor, the clerk, this has been a group effort, and the gate is beautiful. Now we are, as Dennis said, we are having our second euchre tournament, and it is October 14th, 6 p.m. at the VFW Hall. The tickets are $20. You have a chance to win $300, $150, or $50. There will be free food. There will be gift baskets donated by Kathy Abdo, Linda Choate, and others, myself, Mary Oakley. We all donate so we can make this event a success. We still have a few euchre tournament tickets, so Roberto, do you play? Okay, we're looking for players to play. Last year we had 22 full tables, and we sold every ticket. So we're looking to do the same again this year. So if you're a euchre player out there, please get in contact with us, and we want to be successful again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Lemon. Any other comments from the audience? Yes, Gina.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, residents of Romulus. I'm Gina Stewart. I'm here just to let you guys know that the Western Wayne NAACP is hosting our annual Freedom Fund dinner. It will be October 16th, that's on a Sunday, from 4 to 7 in Redford at the Stephens Banquet Center. The address is 26355 West Chicago in Redford. So if anybody wants tickets, they can call the president, 313-477-6710. So we're expecting to have a good time. The Faye Nelson from the DTE Foundation is the speaker, and Councilman Jewel Jones is the MC, the youngest council person in Inkster. So that should be fun. So that's that announcement. Then I just had one question. For the reappointments for the property disposition and the Board of Zoning Appeals, are those, I'm just trying to learn how this works, are those volunteer positions? For the,
35.
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah, yeah.
They
Appointed.
get
Yeah.
35.
Appointed,
I think they get $35 a month, don't they?
Appointed, yeah.
Oh, that one. I thought the Board of Appeals. I'm sorry.
So no. I mean, yes, they're volunteer.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. That was all I had.
Thank you.
And I did come to the prayer breakfast for the Pumpkin Fest, and it's a good time.
All right. Thank you. Any other comments from the audience? Seeing no more comments, Madam Clerk, close it out.
Number 8 is unfinished business.
Zapdo.
Yes, I'd like to address Mr. Coslin's concerns. Listening to that, I find everything you said very, very distraught over what you said, that this went on in the city. I would like to know, I'd like the city council to get some sort of feedback from either the mayor or Julie on why the police chief said that we have state-of-the-art cameras and we're not using them. I mean, that needs to be addressed. Do we have these state-of-the-art cameras? And
I can address some of that. Council just approved the cameras and body cams that are being implemented. The old system was still in place, so that's part of the upgrade, actually. I don't know, Steve, do you want to comment on that one? I mean, it's basically in process with, that's part of the reason we're upgrading not just cars, but bodies and cars, so that we have state-of-the-art information.
I can't speak as to why the video wouldn't necessarily be available. That would usually be under the discretion of the officer or something like that. I think that in question, it was a technical issue, would need to be looked into, but for the most part, it is an older system. My experience with a lot of the vendors is the equipment, after a while, sometimes these organizations don't necessarily live up to the length that they would be supporting said systems. It's one of the reasons why it's being looked at, but I do believe we can make some inquiries and find out why that video wasn't.
so we don't have state-of-the-art cameras on our police cars?
I would say that the cameras themselves are end of life. We have definitely made an effort to make sure that all the cameras are working in the vehicles.
Okay.
So I can at least attest, to the best of my knowledge, all of the systems should be working.
Then this should have been recorded.
That would be the case. Now, in terms of
Why
retrieving
that
the
wasn't
video,
available, that's a big concern to me. Why all of a sudden that video was not available?
I'll definitely make some inquiries with the police department and see if there is something technical. But, as we said, normally for any infraction, I believe they make a video. So
Yeah, because it sounds like this could it went much too far, and if they had supplied the video, this would have been all been a moot issue.
agree.
Okay.
Mr. Wadsworth.
I'd like to comment on the gentleman in the back, too. As a retired cop myself, you know, we can't, I don't know if you're guilty or not guilty. I have no idea. But the two comments that you made, especially when a judge tells you that he or she is more concerned about lunch, and we have no control over the judges. They're elected by the public. But What you said about the prosecutor would tell you, go enjoy your 3 points. That, I find that offensive. I find that upsetting to me, and we should find out if this really did occur, because it's a prosecutor's job to be fair and to prosecute. It's not to put his own personal comments in that. And that goes for all public officials. You cause yourself problems when you have to put your opinion into what you just made, a decision. But for a prosecutor to tell you to go enjoy your 3 points, I think it's just totally absurd. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I can try to follow up on that. The city prosecutor works for us, so we're trying to provide customer service. I know in this one there are some things we can influence. We can influence the own internal things with our department, and try to make sure things was handled with the video. But once they do get to the court, even though we have the best system in the world, it does have flaws. But I'll make sure that our people that we have within our control know very clearly what to do and how to provide that service. So.
Yeah, Ms. Abdo.
Just speaking from experience, it's bad enough getting a ticket and all the things that he's gone through. Whether or not you're guilty or not, I don't know, but he does deserve to be treated with dignity and respect, and I don't think that comment reflects his dignity and respect, if that was made by the press.
Okay.
If there's no more unfinished business, number 9 is new business.
Any new business?
Number 10 is communication.
Communications.
Number 11 for approval is warrant 16-18.
Mr. Chairman,
Ms. Cho?
I'd like to make a motion that we pay warrant 16-18 in the following amounts. General Fund, $59,103.43. Major Street Fund, $514.19. Local Street Fund, $1,638.11. Cable TV, $6.50. Garbage and Rubbish Collection Fund, $80,677.57. CDBG, $4,000.81. 911, $730.23. Law Enforcement, $55.98. Narcotics Enforcement, $29.65. Library Fund, $3,772.59. DDA, $26,788.32. Tifa District 2, $8.13. Beverly Road Special Assessment District, $85,000. Water and Sewer Fund, $345,254.36. Motor Vehicle Fund, $21,362.98. Technology Services, $9,803.52. Retirees Insurance Benefits, $177,514.03. Revolving Fund, $2,499.50. Current tax would be $2,170,071.36. Delinquent Personal Property Fund, $243,719.79. Payroll Fund, $215,233.73, for a grand total of all funds, $3,447,784.78.
Support.
Been motioned by Ms. Choate, supported by Mr. Kraut, to pay warrant number 16-18 for $3,447,784.78. Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth? Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Warrant number 16-18 will be paid.
Number 12 is adjournment.
So moved.
Support.
It's been motioned by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Roscoe for adjournment. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. We are adjourned. Thank you.